You triggered me, man. Like, you mentioned Chiefs and refs in the same sentence. I'm like, we're doing it.
And immediately we thought of Epstein and Diddy. Like, I want to know.
Well, if you think about it, you're still getting effed.
All right, let's move on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the BeardZone Sports Talk, where the only thing we're biased about around here is our beards. I got Carlos, I got Scooter, my name is David, and welcome to this week's NFL breakdown. Gentlemen, let's just dive right into it. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid out. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, do us a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because that is the best way to continue to support us as we continue to grow this NFL season. Gentlemen, I have been waiting for this day because the group chat between us was absolutely electrifying, and I told you guys to leave it for the microphone. Here is your chance. We had 3 rookie quarterbacks. I mean, technically 4 if you want to have Drake May, because, I mean, he did get out there right on the field. He did play a little bit. But we had 3 rookie quarterbacks play this weekend, and 2 of them absolutely played really well. And unfortunately, one of them was Bo Nix against, my home team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll get into that. Todd Bowles makes every rookie quarterback look like a freaking Hall of Famer, it seems like. So not really too sure what's going on with that. Then you have Jaden Daniels, who by far had one of arguably the best rookie quarterback performance of all time against the Cincinnati Bengals. But gentlemen, the quarterback of discussion right now is the quarterback of discussion that was through all offseason. It brought up so many good arguments and so many debates and everything else like that. Well, now it's here. Caleb Williams kind of sucks. And I'm just going to say that. But I know that each one of you has to, defend your opinion. So I'm going to let you guys ride with this. But it's not looking good for Caleb Williams right now.
I mean, you might as well just be watching The Longest Yard, and he's the cheerleader on the sideline. I mean, just chip the paint off your nails. Call yourself Jamarcus Russell or Ryan Leaf. You're a big joke. The Bears tried to get everything they could to complement their draft pick. They went all in on this guy. The only reason why he's not the bigger bust is because Bryce Young's still in the NFL. You watch everything that the Bears have. There's no excuse not to win. Their O-line, though, absolute garbage. Caleb Williams might still be playing at USC. He probably should have got his degree. But instead, he just decides to just wear lipstick and play football. That's just how it is. He's not good. You watch everything that they've done. They've catered the whole game from the Bears sideline for him. They're on board with him. I got that. But, he sucks. He does not have the mental maturity to finish in the NFL. He's going to see out probably this year, maybe next year, or half of the season, depending on who they can get. But this might just be another Bryce Young and another Jamarcus. It's not like you have all that talent, right? Blah, 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 blah. He's ass. Get the wet wipes out, wipe the diaper butt, and go.
All right, I want to just read a stat out for you here. This quarterback has 637 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And then we have Mr. Caleb Williams here, who I feel is just a product right now of a bad decision and draft picks for them with a Dunze. I don't feel like they should have got Dunze. And then we have Caleb, who has 630. He does have 4 interceptions, so he has twice as many as the other guy, and he only has half the touchdowns. One is Baker Mayfield, and then the other one is Caleb Williams. So it's not a huge difference when you're talking about a guy who's 2-1 and then this other guy who's 1-2. But there's two totally different teams. Caleb's offensive line is going to go down again as one of the worst in NFL history. The pressure rate before this week was over 80%. They can't run the ball. You can't run the ball 2.34 yards per carry and think that any team's going to win in the NFL. I don't know. I don't want to. I can't pass judgment on that he's a complete bust or not going to be able to do it. He still threw for 353 yards this past week. He did throw a couple. He got his first touchdown in. The last one was garbage. But I mean, still, at the end of the day, do you take him? Here's a question: do you take him or Anthony Richardson?
I take Anthony Richardson.
The
guy had two. Wait a minute. This guy last week, Anthony Richardson, had 167 yards and 2 interceptions, no touchdowns.
Yeah,
that was Anthony Caleb Williams last week. Keep going.
Anthony Richardson only has 583 yards. He has 3 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and he's under 50% on his completion rate. Anthony Richardson is still one of the best jokes going on in the NFL. He is a terrible
still Will Levis, so.
Yeah, they got Will Levis and Bryce Young. They took care of him. It's still, I think it's a little early for them. I still think, I don't think that was the wrong pick for them. I just think Odunze was the wrong pick for them. In a sense, they could have went offensive lineman. They could have traded back and maybe got a couple picks and did something with that offensive line. That offensive line is terrible. He has made bad decisions, but it's still rookie. And we can't forget, Josh Allen the first 2 years was not a good quarterback. And then he got Ken Dorsey and became an MVP. So he still needs, if he can get the right quarterback coach, maybe he can turn around because the arm talent is 100% there from this guy.
I don't think that the talent is anything that has ever been in question. The problem with Caleb Williams that I'm seeing, right? I'm not going to go so far left or so far right here. I'm going to try and play, I'm going to try and ride the fence here. Caleb Williams has great talent. He's definitely has all the weapons to not have an excuse to not be good this year. But he is also not put in a great situation. You have to understand, yes, in USC, he didn't have the best offensive line. But that was in college. He's going up against real grown men right now, that are far more athletic than probably 90% of the guys who he went up against in collge.
So you should be used to being the sub to the Dom. That's fine.
Listen, jeez. So, but the biggest problem with me with Caleb Williams right now is I don't feel like that the leadership is there. I think that it can get there. I think that over time, right, we can see maturity, right? We've seen, you mentioned Baker Mayfield. You compared some of the stats. Baker Mayfield wasn't that. I mean, we've seen a huge maturity, curve and uptick in Baker Mayfield, which is making him, a more likable, more favorable quarterback to have on your team. Caleb Williams just needs to kind of settle into that role. What I don't like seeing is what I saw at USC. He goes to the sideline, he pouts, he complains, and he doesn't just move on, man. Just move on to the next thing. If the drive didn't go the way that it was that you had pictured, move on. Get your face in the tablet, talk to your coaches, talk to the O-line, get your guys rallied up, and get out there the next drive and, try and have a successful drive. What I'm seeing from Caleb Williams is I'm seeing him sit on the sideline, and none of his teammates seem to be around him. It's just he doesn't look like has that maturity level yet, but it can happen. But I will say this: as of right now, Jaden Daniels is looking like the offensive rookie of the year. I mean, this guy is fantastic. And I only say that, I mean, of course, we had Malik Neighbors who had a really good week this week. But it's always going to go to the quarterback, it seems like. So Jaden Daniels and what he did to the Cincinnati Bengals just Monday night was ridiculous. So let's kind of go there. what's going on with the Cincinnati Bengals? Because it's not the offense. I can tell you that right now. The offense is not the problem. Joe Burrow has been playing pretty well. The running game has been so. But this defense for the Cincinnati Bengals is not good. And they are getting exposed week in and week out. And that is why they are now sitting at 0-3. After, honestly, let's be real. They should have at least 2 wins by now.
At least one from week 1.
Right.
Yeah, that was a rob.
That
against the Patriots, right.
No, they should have had 2 if you think about it, because the Chiefs game is an absolute referee robbery. I don't care if you can call pass interference, but that was outrageous holding on your right tackle for the Chiefs. I'll die on that hill. The Cincinnati Bengals need to solve 2 things on their defense. Getting more pressure. Hubbard and Hendrickson absolutely have to get more sacks or more QB pressures. I don't care if you throw an offensive lineman into the quarterback or not. Like, you need some form of pressure. There was barely anything. I think there was like 1 or 2 sacks max. And I think Hendrickson got one of them on Jayden Daniels. But their secondary, man, you watch their hips and their footwork, ass. Like, there's no edge to it. There's no, like, you watch Sauce Gardner, you watch Revis, you watch Gilmore, and all these, Sherman in his prime, Dion in his prime. It's the hips and the footwork that set up everything pre-route, all the jam, all that stuff. And the secondary for the Bengals looks sloppy as hell. It just does. Like, they're getting burned on inside routes. They're losing a step on all these, like, weird second moves. Jayden Daniels looked fantastic. He hasn't turned the ball over yet. It's still early in the season. I got it. But the Cincinnati Bengals aren't going to win a game until they solve that secondary and QB pressure. There's no way.
Yeah.
They can score 40 points, and they're still going to lose.
Well, I think something I read today with Kingsbury is that he literally is taking the LSU offense, and this is where I think Caleb could be doing better, is that Kingsbury took the LSU offense and implemented it to the Redskins. So he's literally running the offense he ran at LSU, which is super comfortable, which is a genius idea on their part to bring that scheme to them, and then slowly move him back more into a pro style. So he's able to run. You can tell his throwing is getting a lot better than from week 1 to now. So he's they're just doing the right things with this kid, and I don't understand if you're going to take a quarterback that high, especially with like Caleb or him or Drake May. You got to fit your style to him and not hope that he fits your style. And I think Kingsbury is the perfect offensive coordinator for Daniels, man. This kid's just going to keep going. I don't see it stopping. Like you see finally McLaurin get finally that deep ball that he's been waiting on. He's spreading the ball around nicely, and he's running. So the kid's having a lot of fun. But they've done a really good job of making sure to implement the offense to fit him, and it's working out for him.
Speaking of implementing an offense that is seemingly to fit the guys that you have, let's talk about the 3-0 Minnesota Vikings. The 3-0 Sam Darnold led Minnesota frickin' Vikings. These guys, Kevin O'Connell, what's funny is that Kevin O'Connell, a lot of people were saying like, hey, this is going to be his last year. Like, this is the year. If they don't do well, he could be on the hot seat. He could be a guy who we see, exit as the head coach. Not anymore. Not anymore, because everything that he is doing with Sam Darnold and this offense is phenomenal. I mean, we have Aaron Jones as well in the backfield, who, if you remember in our fantasy episode, I did say Aaron Jones is a sleeper in fantasy. I thought that this guy was going to be able to really help this offense, and I assumed that it was going to be J.J. McCarthy that was going to be at the helm, but, Sam Darnold was doing exactly what we thought that J.J. McCarthy could do. 4 touchdowns yesterday. They get a big win over the Houston Texans. Houston Texans honestly looked flat-footed from the first snap. Minnesota are they? I mean, if you look at the rest of the NFC North, right? Yeah, the Bears, obviously, they're not doing so well. You have the Detroit Lions, who they lost against the Bucks, but that they had a bounce back game against the Cardinals last week, which was a good win for them. And then you have the Packers, who, out of surprisingly, Malik Willis is, looking pretty decent. I mean, granted, it was against the Tennessee Titans, which isn't too much to talk about. But I mean, Minnesota, they seem to be the team that has the most foundation. Is that, if that makes sense? And they could be a real threat there in the North.
Dude, Kevin O'Connell, I don't know what he is, an absolute mastermind. He has figured out how to change his offense to a younger Kirk Cousins. Like that's all that I say. He's slinging the ball where he's supposed to go. Play action's awesome. Aaron Jones is looking like his younger self in Green Bay, which is wild. Their defense that we thought when you look at our previous episodes, we thought the Minnesota defense was not up to snuff, given everything else that the NFC North has to offer. And man, we were wrong. I'm just going to say it now. On behalf of the Beard Zone, we were dead wrong about Minnesota's defense. They have the pressure. Harrison in the middle, in the deep, like they're rocking people. They're holding tight coverage. They're not turning the ball over. It looks like a complete team. But again, it's 3 weeks. So my question for the Vikings, and it's hard to tell because Darnold's been given a shot, not given a shot, given a shot, not given a shot. And I think this is his year to say if he's legit or not. Because if you look at his time, he's kind of coming up on that cusp in the NFL where you're either a career bench or you're going to start. And does Darnold stay consistent enough behind center to where they can win? JJ's getting touches. Addison, I think, was out last week, but he's going to be a good thing. You got screen passes with Jones. Can Kevin O'Connell keep it up with Darnold? That's my thing. Because who else comes in after him? I don't remember who they have at third string, but when you're starting Sam Darnold, you don't really have much else in your ticket. How consistent can Darnold stay?
Well, here's something that is surprising for Sam Darnold, and this was a shock to me, but he's the same age as Joe Burrow. He's actually younger than Josh Allen. So, I mean,
he's only 27.
Yeah, he's only 27 years old. So, he's been in the league for, obviously some years now, but he's still really young. I mean, Minnesota, I understand that they have J.J. McCarthy, but Minnesota, man, if he continues this play, they could really just have him and just ride with him, have J.J. McCarthy sit on the bench for a couple of years, have him learn, and then, they're set for, the foreseeable future in their quarterback position. And everything that Kevin O'Connell has been able to do with Sam Darnold in this offense, it looks like that's going to be able to maintain. Now, 3 weeks is early, but I like what Minnesota's doing.
They are, man. And they've beaten two really good teams, Houston and then the 49ers. And Darnold's playing, man. He's spinning the ball right. He's 4 touchdowns last week. And they don't even have Addison, so he still hurts. So when he comes back, that offense will get better. And then you got Hawkinson that hasn't even come back yet. So when he comes back, he'll be even better. That'll make that offense even tougher. So they're looking good, man. They're playing good defense. That is a surprising. They had a couple picks. CJ Stroud did not look good at all this week. The addition of Greenwood from Texas, which is helping them out. And they get Van Ginkel, who I would love to run down to Miami and smack the GM. Why you let that guy go? Let him go. I don't know why. Pay the guy his money. He didn't even get that much money. But man, they're playing good. Like I say, Jones is looking good. Yeah, man, they're just O'Donnell is such a good freaking coach, man. I don't know why. Minnesota should just better keep that guy. He should be like Tomlin and just be what he goes when he's ready to go. But they're doing everything right. They're not making. They're just playing to their strengths, and freaking Sam Darnold's 3-0.
Sam Darnold is 3-0, and Andy Dalton is 1-0 with the Carolina Panthers. Let's get into that because Andy Dalton gets the starting gig this week after Bryce Young is, benched by Dave Canellis, first-year coach for the Carolina Panthers, and this is a completely new team. I mean, if you look at this game, they had energy. Their offense was moving up and down the field. It looks like their defense was even playing a little bit better. I mean, Andy Dalton just went right out there, threw for 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I mean, what more can you ask for from a quarterback? This isn't anything new from Andy Dalton, right? But this is more of a conversation of what does this mean for Bryce Young? Because if you look at Carolina, ever since Tapper, right? That's how you pronounce his last name, Dave, the owner. Ever since he's taken over that team, this team has just been an absolute train wreck. I think he has had 7 head coaches, 6 different starting quarterbacks. I mean, there's just no patience with this guy. But what does this mean for Andy Dalton? I understand. Apparently, several teams have reached out to the Carolina Panthers for trade. They're saying that he's off of the market. But, Dave Canellis, as the head coach, said, hey, Bryce is our guy. And then the very next day, he was benched. We know that this is a business at the end of the day. And why not try and sell this guy high and just maybe hit the restart button? Because none of this front office right now that they have drafted Bryce Young. So why not try and sell him high and move forward?
The same thing with the Bears. They didn't put anyone around him to protect him. Bryce Young, you look at the tape coming out of college and all this other stuff. Yeah, his biggest issue was height. And then they said he had good vision and everything else. And again, the NFL is a different story. I don't think Bryce Young got the worst end of the stick you could imagine in how he landed. No excuse, you got to produce, right? That's the name of the game in the NFL. I think if the Carolina Panthers keep him, they say sit and learn. Very simple, sit and learn. If he goes to another team, it's sit and learn. And you're going to take your rookie contract, you're going to shut up, you're going to study the book, you're going to study tape, you're going to study who's in front of you. And then you're going to learn and move on, right? If you're looking at Andy Dalton, though, you're going, oh my God, that was awesome. And for fun facts, where would you stick Andy Dalton in passing yards, touchdowns, and interceptions? All time.
Ooh, a good old Scooter stat line here. All time?
Yeah. Top 50, top 100, top 10.
No.
I mean, obviously not top 10. He's nowhere close to top 10.
No, I would put him in the top 20.
You would be close. Top 25. He is right there 25. At 25. Passing yards, he's 26th. Touchdowns, he's 25th. Interceptions, he's actually, if you look at his stats, just pure stats, he is better than Jim Kelly, Matt Stafford in passing yards, Fitzmagic, Romo, Hasselbeck, Flacco, McNabb, and Kurt Warner.
Wow.
Yeah, in stats.
All right, Kurt Warner. Everyone else, it was kind of like, okay.
And, it's Andy Dalton had a crazy run with the Cincinnati Bengals earlier on, and then it kind of fizzled out. Then he jumped around nice with the Carolina Panthers, and he's never been spectacular, but he's never been hot trash. Yeah, he had I think he had 2 or 3 years where he had double-digit turnovers and interceptions. I got it. But he's better than Cam Newton in stats. He's better than Phil Simms in stats. He's better than Troy Aikman in stats, and everyone knows Troy Aikman was carried by Emmitt Smith in that defense. We got it. But guys who have been to the Super Bowl and won, and multiple times, have less stats than Andy freaking Dalton. The Red Rocket from TCU. Insane. Now, weird side note, Kerry Collins has arguably Hall of Fame stats if you go look him up for some weird reason, he's like high on touchdowns and passing yards. I think he spent like 40 years in the NFL. I don't know. But same thing with Testaverde. They just died in the NFL. But
And Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm just saying, just look up his stats. I'm just saying.
Andy Dalton's better than him. It's insane.
Yeah.
So if you're the Panthers, you're like, okay, Dalton start. If we win, we win. He throws for 3 touchdowns and you get a win. You're like, yeah, he's staying. I don't care. Like, Bryce Young better sit and learn. If he gets traded, Panthers need to recoup something because they got to do so much damage control for the next like 5 years to recover from that garbage. And if Bryce goes to another team, Carolina Panthers better get a steal for a deal. And then Bryce needs to say, hey, I'm going to humble myself. I'm going to sit. I'm going to learn. Because if he gets thrown into like the Bears, there's no change. He gets thrown into the Browns, there's no change. He gets thrown into probably the Cardinals, no change. Like Giants, no change. Maybe, hear me out. Bryce Young to the Dolphins?
Evidently, that call has already been made.
But are you calling it in, Carlos?
No, I don't know, man. That's I mean, right now, yeah, why not? We're down to I think the towel boy right now. Like, we got nothing. Like 3 points in a Mike McDaniel offense. Come on. Nobody would ever thought that.
No, not at all. But my thing about the whole Bryce Young situation is if you sit him and just say, hey, look, you're still our guy moving forward, but we're just going to sit you. We just want you to learn. But Andy Dalton does exactly what he just did, but he does it for, several weeks. What if he turns this Carolina team around and they end up, winning 6 or 7 games? It's like
crazy.
I'm not saying that they are, but I'm saying I'm just trying to paint this out. I feel like once you bench a quarterback, especially a quarterback that was drafted number 1 overall, and he only had what was it, like his 19th or 20th start in the NFL, and he got benched after you gave up the entire farm for him, and no, all right, we're just going to go ahead and bench you with a new entire front office. I think the writing is on the wall at this point. I don't understand why they're trying to be like, oh, no, he's still our guy. It doesn't make any sense. Just move forward. Just get rid of him and see what you can do, moving forward.
Return on investment, man. You got to get the W's to stay.
I think they are at that pinnacle of that decision. Like, hey, is he going to be our guy? Dalton can finish out the rest of the year. They're still only going to win 4, maybe 5 games this year with Andy Dalton at the helm. They probably only won 2 or maybe 2 with Bryce Young. They've got a tough schedule. Their next 2 games they could potentially have a shot at winning with the Bengals at home, and then they play the Bears. But after that schedule gets really rough quick, and I don't foresee it. There's a stretch there. I don't know if they'll win a game for like 7 weeks, like with Andy Dalton. But if you're going to do that and you're going to hit the reset button, I mean, you do have somebody like the Dolphins that are in need, but the problem is nobody's going to give up anything big on Bryce Young. You're going to get like a 5 or 6 round pick, and I mean, he's probably at his all-time low value. You just got to get somebody that's really desperate. And right now the Dolphins are really desperate for a quarterback, but yeah, they have a tough decision. Either you keep him, but at some point he's got to go back in. He can't sit the whole year. And then, and now Adam Thielen's on IR, so you lose a nice weapon there. So I don't know what they're going to do. I'm with you guys. I'd move on from it. Just chalk it up as an L. And if you're going to suck, there's some good quarterbacks that are out there coming in again next year, and maybe you take a chance on one of those guys or a free agency if there's anything. The problem is there's nothing really coming up out there. So, yeah. Good luck to them.
Well, speaking of moving on, let's move on to the next topic of discussion, because I know this is going to be one that Scooter is going to get his blood pressure raised about, because it is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs They are sitting at 3-0. But is it truly 3-0? Because,
No,
man, there's
no.
been some seriously controversy non-calls for this team, including one that was against the Atlanta Falcons most recently when Kirk Cousins had Kyle Pitts in the end zone, and the guy clearly just pretty much tackled Kyle Pitts. Didn't even turn around for the ball, didn't do any of the things that they teach you there in football. And I know the Falcons players came out and they said, look, that one play didn't determine the fate. Good for your PR team. But if that penalty gets called, you have first and goal on the 1 yard line. You have BJ Robinson, you have Kyle Pitts, you have Drake London, who is a big receiver. I think Drake London gets overlooked about his size, but he's a big guy. You know, he can box out some guys. What's going on with this Chiefs team? Is this just what we're going to have to deal with because they're the Chiefs?
Listen, I'm going to tell you why it doesn't get called. Because it's Kyle freaking Pitts. Nobody cares. It's Kyle Pitts. If it's somebody else that's relevant, I mean, it's Kyle Pitts. But I'm a proponent.
But it should get called regardless.
I'm a proponent, and most people are not. If there's bad calls in every game, there's missed calls in every game. If you've never reffed a game, it's very hard to do. But I'm with the players. Somewhere down the line, you screwed up, and don't put yourself in that position. And I don't know what to tell you. It's football. If it was the other way around, we'd all be cheering that they lost, and but it's part of the game. The bad calls are part of the game, and it is what it is. I'm sure there was 10 calls in that game that went Atlanta's way that they didn't call a holding penalty. You mean to tell me they blocked Chris Jones perfectly on the pass for the whole game and never held that guy? Come on. Like, it goes both ways. It's just football. I get it. It's a shitty call or bad call, edit, boop, at the wrong time. But hey, there was times in that game where, Atlanta had some opportunity. They just blew it. I mean, I get it. It's Mahomes, and I've seen the stats, how many pass interference calls he's gotten. But, I just don't put yourself in that position. And, but I'm not a fan of the hey, that was the call. I don't know, or the no call. That just is what it is. And if it is Kyle Pitts, who's like 6'6", make the freaking catch. Be stronger than that. Because I can tell you, Travis Kelce makes that catch.
Well, maybe not this year.
Not this year.
Not this year. So, or Carlos, really quick, you're from the sales world, right? And you've been my boss in the past. And you've had this line, and this line has been with you, I feel like, forever. And I feel like that maybe this line is maybe exactly what you're talking about. But if a guy sells really, really good and he gets the company some pretty good money, you kind of overlook some of the stuff that he does that maybe is a little questionable to the old HR. So if you're Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, yeah, maybe you don't get some calls, or maybe you do get some calls, but you're the freaking Kansas City Chiefs. Have they earned that right, or should it be fair across the board?
No. The $330 million since Taylor Swift started dating Travis Kelce says otherwise. They need those boys on prime time. There's a ton of money coming in, and it's the Atlanta Falcons. Who cares? Unless you're living in Georgia, who cares about the Atlanta Falcons? When have the Atlanta Falcons been like, oh, it's Atlanta Falcons? I mean, they blew the Super Bowl. Ever since then, who cares? Like, it's Atlanta.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that line, Dave, and I'll give a different worldview of that. You have two people that were overviewed by the feds for years, and one hangs himself allegedly in jail, and the other one's currently got 1,000 bottles of lube and indicted by the feds. And what about their victims? So there's that. You overlook certain calls or certain judgments, but it's still wrong. The Chiefs got away with it, man. Now, let's
Their
take
fan
a
base
step back.
is called the Dirty Birds. They're dirty. They're bad. It's okay.
They
It's
haven't been the
happened to
Dirty
them.
Birds since like early 2000s, 90s. Let's be honest here. Now, let's take a step back here. If you ever read a book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, and then everything is F, you chose to be there because of the decisions that you made prior to that moment. Point blank, everyone's been saying it. Carlos, you mentioned it. It is 100% true. You decided to suck on third downs. You put yourself in fourth down situations. You ran an off tackle play when you could have just ran it right up the middle. I know Kirk Cousins is not the greatest at the QB sneak. Just push him. It was like half a yard. Y'all are dumb as hell. You got Raheem Morris radio as your freaking head coach. Get out of town, man. Now, the refs, okay. He's got to be he needs his eyes checked. That back judge needs his absolute eyes checked. It was right in front of him. The side judge the previous week with the Bengals holding out the ass right in front of him. The Super Bowl with Bosa right in front of him. I don't want to hear it. Oh, it was a missed call. Dude, you are blind as hell. Call it, man. It was 3 feet in front of you. How do you cannot tell me with everything that they've missed, the 17 interceptions that got called back for Patrick Mahomes to win a game and or Super Bowl, like, how do the refs not have money on these games? There's no way. I got it. It sounds like I'm crying, whatever. Watch the game. I understand there are blown calls, but it's right in front of his face. Yeah, the Falcons, you should have won. You choked. It is what it is. But these refs absolutely need to be taken care of because you cannot let games like that be dictated by the Zebras who are blind as hell. Absolutely blind. It's like the feds turning their eyes to Epstein and Diddy for 10 years apiece. They got countless victims and millions of dollars being funneled through whatever. It's the same thing with NFL refs. You want a great NFL script. You need a great movie for 6 months out of the year. Let's start paying them off. Let's look at the Vikings and the Rams, or the Saints and the Rams when the blatant pass interference no call. This is almost as egregious.
As a Tampa fan, though, I will say I love that call.
I know.
Same
thing. But still.
There was a guy that said the first and second quarter for the fans, the third and fourth quarter is for the refs.
No, it's for the owners and their investments.
It's part of that conspiracy with the NFL. You get one half, let it go. If you look at the calls in the first, second quarter, they're down. And then when you start getting in the middle of that third, you start seeing these crazy calls like being missed, or there was a whole, like just something like, really?
If you're watching a Chiefs game and it's fourth quarter and they're behind, I hope you got a bet to have a pass interference or an interception turned around for Patrick Mahomes. You better just bet on it. I don't care about Taylor Swift and all the other money stuff, but if you got to bet against a ref and the Chiefs, just roll with it. Just put the $100 in. You're probably gonna get 1,000 out of it. So,
yeah. Well, all right. On that note, I don't really know where to go from there. So, Carlos, you got anything before we get into our picks of the week?
I mean, you get Bo Nix. He gets his first win against the Bucs. Sorry,
oh
guys.
My God.
Oh yeah.
But the guy gets his first win. I'm not gonna say I'm a Bo Nix fan, but he's a tough kid. I mean, he's a good player.
I will give credit where credit is due. At the end of the day,
we sucked.
Bo Nix came out and took advantage of a horrible game plan, that was drew up by Todd Bowles. Now, I will say this. Todd Bowles, I understand there's a lot of Tampa fans that are shouting for him to get fired. Let's calm down a little bit, okay? Because he led this team with Baker Mayfield last year to the playoffs. We got into the divisional round, had a hell of a game against the Detroit Lions. We're 2-1. And honestly, let's be real. We all expected the Bucs to be 2-1 at this point. We just didn't expect them to have that one loss against the Broncos. We thought it was going to be against the Giants. So I think we're right exactly where we need to be. And also, this defense has yet to allow, it's the only defense in the NFL to allow a passing touchdown against them. So as much as our secondary gets slack, we have not allowed a passing touchdown against this defense. So shout out to to the Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Sean Payton continues to have Tampa Bay's number. I don't know what it is, but Sean Payton, seriously, he has been a nightmare for Tampa since he was with the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees, and it has just been very annoying. But shout out to Bo Nix. He looked good. I like the swagger. He had some swagger out there. He had some chip. He had some fieriness and everything else like that. You like that out of your quarterback. You like to see that out of your quarterback. So definitely good job, Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos.
God, that was such a sad showing on defense. I was so mad. I was like, I like Bo Nix. I like how he plays. I like his accuracy. And Sean Payton. God dang it, man! Like, I don't know what we do when we show up against Sean Payton teams. We're just like, we're not gonna. We're like, it is what it is. Like, dude, our defense is like, oh, we'll show up for half the game. Our offense is like, we play football. Like, Baker couldn't hit the broadside of a barn for some weird reason. Our run game was meh. Like,
except for Bucky Irving. Get that guy the ball.
I know. Like, why couldn't we capitalize on that speed? Todd Bowles to me, and I know I was on this train last year and I'll be on it forever, is the fire Todd Bowles. He has a plan and he doesn't deviate. He doesn't adjust. He just stands there, and I'm surprised he's showing emotion this year, but he's just like, the whole game, man. I'm like, we just scored a touchdown for like the third time in a row, and you're just like, I don't know. That was a fluke game. That's how I want to view that, but it's not going to get any better, man. We got to wrap some stuff up. I know we're not going to go like 16-1. There's no way. Not with our schedule.
No, but I think the next games we have the Eagles, Falcons, Saints, Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs, 49ers.
And like, the way the Falcons are playing, man,
dude. It's going to be a hard stretch for us. So definitely need to get. If we get a win, I think what we need to do is we need to bounce back. We can't get this L against the Eagles, and it's not going to be an easy game. So hopefully, though, we get the win.
Speaking of who's going to get the win, let's do this.
Speaking of who is going to get the win, let's dive right in to this week's BeardZone Game Day Picks of the Week. That is right. It is the rapid fire. We're going to go down the list of games here, and we are going to select our winners. And starting next week, this is the first week that we are officially counting our records. All right, boys?
Thank God.
Week 1. I had a good
What do you mean?
Week 1. All right.
Okay, fine. We can maybe, let's go week 1. I forgot that we were all here for week 1. So, but
is this fantasy where we don't count the first part of the season?
Oh my God, I hope so, because I went 0-3. Well, I went 0-2 my first 2 weeks of my 3 leagues, and then I won. So I don't know how to feel because Tampa lost last week, right? But I won all my fantasy games, and then the games that the Bucks won, I lost. So I'm a little upset. My wife said that I'm not a true fan.
You're very emotional right now.
I am a true fan.
I have a great analogy for that, but I don't think we can say that on here.
Isn't that PG enough? I mean, we've already gone PG-13, so.
Yeah. I mean, we have mentioned some unspeakable names on this podcast already, thanks to Scooter.
You triggered me, man. Like, you mentioned Chiefs and refs in the same sentence. I'm like, we're doing it.
And immediately we thought of Epstein and Diddy. Like, I want to know.
Well, if you think about it, you're still getting effed.
All right, let's move on. We're not
with the first game. Whoa,
Carlos is fumbling the mic. We're all over the place right now. All right, boys, let's get into it. First game on the block: Cowboys, Giants. Who do you got?
Is this a game? Are we serious right now?
It is a game.
I take the Cowboys, dude. They're so angry right now, and Daniel Jones. He had a fluke game. Malik Neighbors is like, oh, I'm on the top of the world. That's not going to happen again. The Cowboys wreck house.
You're going with them, boys.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Cowboys this game as well. I don't see that happening at all. Let's move on to the next game. We have the Bengals, 0-3 Bengals against the 1-2 Panthers. Andy Dalton's second start. Can Joe Burrow get the win in Carolina?
Bengals.
Yeah, understandably, like how consistent are the Panthers? And what we saw last night with the Bengals, man, that's just they should have won that game. But Bengals win over the Panthers.
I'm going to go with the Panthers. I like the Panthers. I like what Andy Dalton did last week. I don't like what the Bengals defense looks like. I got the Panthers getting this game and sending the Bengals to 0-4 to start their season off. Let's move on to Saints at Falcons. Who do you guys have?
It's a good one.
That's a tight game. That's only like a 1.5 point spread with the over under at 42.5. Man, New Orleans has the favorite at Falcons at home. Mm-hmm. And I think an angry Kirk Cousins is like the best Kirk Cousins. I hate saying that now because he's in our division, but I think the Falcons squeeze one out. I think Derek Carr was semi-exposed last week. I like the Falcons in this one.
Going Saints.
Yeah, as much as I like what I don't like as a Tampa fan, but as a fantasy owner, I like that Calvin Kamara seems all the way back. I think that, he's going to have a really good year. But I do have the Falcons beating the Saints there at home. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Houston Texans. Texans coming off a big loss against Minnesota. Jaguars, I don't know, man. They're looking like they're in a tailspin right now.
Oh my God.
So, because, yeah. Who do you have?
Texans.
Yeah, right. Texans, 100%, man.
I got the Houston Texans as well. I think the Jaguars are going to be on a stretch here. They're not looking good. I don't know what's going on.
It's just supreme sloppiness on both sides of the ball, man. Doug Peterson needs to get his crap together. And everyone's saying Trevor Lawrence might be a bust, but there's nothing to do. There's not much. I don't know.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Broncos at the Jets. Aaron Rodgers came off a pretty big win on Thursday night against New England. Bo Nix, of course, gets his first win. Who do you guys have?
Jets. I don't think it's close.
Yeah, I think the Jets are clicking right now. Bo Nix got lucky. The Broncos defense, though, isn't exactly a joke because I think they got, Simmons, Surtain. I got Jets. I think Rodgers just kind of carries it, man. That and their defense. Dude, Jets defense is fantastic.
Yeah, I got the Jets as well, although I do not like the matchup with Garrett Wilson and Courtland Sutton. As I am a Garrett Wilson owner, I know that he goes up against Sauce Gardner every week, but Sutton, I don't know, man. He's been shutting down some guys this year. So, and Aaron Rodgers seems to like Alan Lazard this year. So
he liked him in Green Bay.
I know he's staying loyal to his guys. So, but let's move on. The hot Minnesota Vikings are going into their rivalry Lambeau to face off against the Green Bay Packers. Do you have Sam Darnold going forward now?
Hell yeah, let's go! Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold somehow upsetting the entire NFL script at 4-0. Let's go.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm going Vikings as well.
Man, I hate it when we all pick the same team, and that's what it seems
now,
like
here's the question, though. When is Jordan Love supposed to come back?
Jordan Love's not supposed to be back until, I think, week 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So he's still got
that's a rough stretch. That's a rough stretch. Can Malik Willis really do it? Can he really?
He's been doing it. So, but I don't think consistently. So
backup QB 101.
I got the Vikings simply because of the defense. I think the defense for Minnesota, we touched on it earlier. For some reason or another, we overlooked it, and they are a great group of guys. So next up, we have the surprising 3-0 Steelers going up against the Indianapolis Colts and Indiana. Who do you guys have?
Tomlin, this guy, I don't know what the heck he's doing up there. With Justin Fields 3-0, it amazes me. And they're going to be 4-0 at the end of this because Richardson is going to throw 2-3 picks. That piece of garbage. I got him on a fantasy team. He's killing me right now. So I got Pittsburgh, man. Defense is too strong for them.
Oh, man. I don't know. I was really hesitant I'm so confused about the Steelers. I 100% believe that's all coaching, man. Tomlin has something that's going on in Pittsburgh, man. Oh man, I want to lean towards the Colts because of what they got on the roster. I think AR. I think he's decent, but dude's just turning the ball over, man. I got Steelers. I'm so confused with this game, but I got the Steelers.
He's like a
I'm going to
teenager.
go ahead.
Confused.
I'm actually going to ride with Anthony Richardson and the Colts this week. I don't think
Staying loyal, man.
I don't think
Well-
I don't think that they can continue to ride this wave. I don't know how they're at 3-0. I mean, honestly, let's thank their kicker. That's why they're at 3-0. So I think that Anthony Richardson can put up, at least some points, although he might give some points away. But this offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you look at it, they're really not that great. They've really been relying on their defense, and although it's been working, I don't see them beating the Indianapolis Colts this week. I think Jonathan Taylor might have a pretty big week this week as well. Los Angeles Rams in Chicago to face Caleb Williams. Does Caleb finally get into the groove?
No. Just no.
No.
Like, dude, that O-line, you got Braden Fisk and Verse on the other side. Dude, Rams. Matt Stafford and that offense, even with all the injuries they have on, I think, both sides of the ball, they're clicking, man. They're finding ways to win. Kyron Williams looking fantastic. He's running angry, similar to Pacheco. I don't know. Bears defense is fantastic. I got it. I don't know how they have the Bears favored in this. I'm very confused. Probably because they're at home. I got the Rams.
I want to go with Caleb and the Bears, but
Do it. Commit.
Stay loyal.
I can't. My love for Stafford is too high. The Rams going there. They take care of business.
Yeah, I got the Rams winning as well. Gosh dang it, guys. You got to mix it up a little bit, man. What the heck is going on? All right, next. Eagles at Bucks. Bucks need a big win. Eagles also coming off a...
Don't pick with your heart.
I know.
I mean, we could pick with, history and go with the Bucks since the Eagles can't seem to finish a season.
Well, but it's still early in the season.
Yeah. So the one question I have for the Eagles is how does Jalen Hurts rebound? Because they're very run heavy. Saquon's looking fantastic. Bucks defense typically does quite well against the run. We just can't run the ball, so take that as you will. The defense, though, for the Eagles, I kind of worry about for the Bucks because, I got it. You lost Hassan Riddick, but you still have like half the Georgia Bulldogs on that team. So, I have the Bucks winning. I don't think it's gonna be a huge blowout win. If we do, it's by a field goal, man. I think it's very tight. And I think all the analysts have us losing this game, unfortunately, and I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm picking the Bucks.
I think the Bucks get the Eagles at the perfect time because anybody know who the wide receiver is this week? Devontae's out. Was a good chance AJ's out again.
Still with a hamstring?
Yeah, there's a chance that he may not play this week, but Devontae's under concussion after that hit he took. So I think a healthy...
Just put Cooper DeJean on the other side of the ball. Screw it, man.
Nah, that ain't going to work for them. I don't... Man, I wish we'd know if AJ's going to play or not. I'm going to go... man. I'm going to take the Bucks. Until if there's no AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, I mean, all you got to do is stop Barkley.
It's like an Aguilar, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
All right. Well, I'm unfortunately going to take the Eagles. I know that the Eagles are banged up. But if you look at the defensive side of the ball of the Bucks are banged up as well. They don't have Kalijah Cansey. They don't have Vita Vea. Antoine Winfield still might be out. Saquon Barkley can definitely rip you a new one. And I know that we don't necessarily big blows to the wide receivers with the Eagles, and I understand that. But I don't know. I just don't foresee us winning this game. And as much as I freaking hate it, and all you Bucks fans are going to hate this too, But guess who's active this week with the Eagles? And guess who's going to play his first game with the Eagles? Devin frickin' White. And he's going to probably absolutely light us up. I think that he's going to come out. He's going to have a hell of a game. And it's going to be his only game of the freaking year. You know what I mean? So, but it just...
I hope he trips coming off the bus.
Well, yeah. So, but
like sprains his
I had
ankle
the
or
Eagles.
something.
Unfortunately, I had the Eagles winning this one. So, it should be. I mean, but both sides of both teams are banged up. So we'll see what happens. Patriots at 49ers. Patriots had a very poor showing against the New York Jets.
Yeah.
But it's a banged up 49ers team.
It
so
doesn't matter.
They could show up with their third string and they'd still beat the Patriots, man.
Also, all prayers and thoughts to all Christian McCaffrey owners. We do apologize.
Dude, like
I have
if
Mason.
If we did our fantasy episodes, just don't pay attention to them because we were dead wrong. So
yeah, McCaffrey is not going to be number one.
We are no longer fantasy analysts.
Yeah, I had the 49ers over the Patriots in this one too. I don't really think it's any much of a competition. Now, this is an interesting game. Washington Commanders, Arizona Cardinals.
I think this is going to be a great game to watch.
Yes.
It is going to be, it has to be high scoring because both teams' defenses aren't that good. And I have no idea what to pick here, so I'm going to let you guys two go first.
Isn't Kingsbury coming back? That's his comeback game?
Yeah, he's coming back to Arizona. Daniels is playing well. Murray, Marvin Harrison, another good week. Ooh, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be fun.
I am leaning towards the Commanders based on what I saw on Monday Night Football. Jaden Daniels, dude, hasn't turned the ball over. Their running game, dual threat. Robinson looks good out of the backfield. Their defense is, you beat the Bengals when they were clicking, so arguably you can beat the Cardinals, I think. So I'm leaning towards the Commanders, which is really strange because I thought they were going to be hot garbage this year, and they're 2-1. So here we are.
Yeah, I got the Commanders. I like what the Commanders are doing. I love what Kyle Murray and the Cardinals are looking like, but I just have this feeling that the Commanders are going to get a win. So give me the Commanders.
All right, I'll be the opposite guy. I'm going with the Cardinals. Their defense has been playing a little bit better. They only gave up 20 to Detroit. I'll go with the Cardinals here. I think Kyle Murray balls out.
Yeah. All right, hold on. Audible. Can I change a pick?
No.
I just remembered something.
Nope.
Damn it.
You're committed.
Tom Brady.
You hit it.
Tom Brady's
the lobby.
The Bucs game this week. I forgot about that. He's going to be back in Ray J.
You should have been a true fan and stayed with your team, you traitor.
Damn it.
No, you got to commit like Kyler when there's a new update to Call of Duty. You got to do it.
All right. I'm going to ride with the Eagles. All right. Chiefs, Chargers. Who do we got?
Chiefs.
Are the refs playing?
Yes.
They're definitely in.
Yeah.
A divisional game, too.
And Taylor Swift is doing the halftime show.
I can't, dude. I can't with you into this. Gosh. I got the Chargers.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and take the Chargers.
Look, I love what Jim Harbaugh and they're doing there. But I'm going to go ahead and go with the Chiefs. I think that they go to 4-0. This is going to be a tough team to beat. It's going to be a really tough team to beat. Their defense is now back to looking like they were last year as a top defense. Their offense is clicking. Rashid Rice is
not running people over
fast off and on the field, so he's just clicking on all cylinders right now. Xavier Worthy is an incredible threat that they're utilizing with Andy Reid in this offense. So give me the Chiefs. Browns, Raiders. I don't know who's looking forward to this one, but who do you got? The Raiders came off a loss to Carolina.
Are the Browns repeating? If you're the Browns front office, I know we talked about Bryce Young, but return on investment, not much.
No.
Gosh.
I got the Raiders.
Same.
I don't think that the Browns are any threat to anybody, to be honest with you. And I know that the Raiders had a big loss last week to Carolina, but I think that probably just got them off guard with,
I'm going to go Browns.
Are you just going opposite of us now at this point?
He has a free ticket for a parlor from Deshaun Watson. That's why. I got the Raiders. I think they come back angry.
Yeah.
I'll have the Thailand special. Thank you.
Oh my God. All right. Sunday Night Football. We had the Bills at the Ravens. Who are we going with?
Let's go Bills to the Super Bowl. Let's roll, man. I'm so on this right now.
I hate the Bills so much that they're 3-0.
Let's go.
There's a chance they beat the dang Ravens, but I'm not going to go with them. I'm going with the Ravens because I hate the Bills and I refuse to pick them for a win.
I got the Bills over the Ravens. They look like a really good team.
You're dead to me.
That's not. I've been dead to you for years, brother. But Bills over the Ravens. Ravens, yes, they did get a win last week against Dallas, but man, they almost choked that game there at the end. But Bills, they're a solid team, man. They're a really solid team this year. So give me the Bills. Scooter? Oh, did
He's
you
going
the
Bills?
Oh,
Dude,
okay. All right, I missed that, Scooter. My bad. All right, didn't mean that. Hey, listen, it goes over my head. You should understand this now, okay? But next up, we got Titans, Dolphins. Carlos, who do you got? Are you rolling with your home team?
I'm going with the home team. Huntley's going to be starting. He's going to ball out first game. He's going to look like his old self. I'm taking the Dolphins. Please, Lord, be Jesus.
I got Titans. I think Will Levis finally makes the Mayo happen, man. Dude, your team, the Dolphins just are not the same without Tua. I don't know what happened. It's like Mike McDaniel was like, "Hey Jesus, I know you're there. Please hear my prayers. Heal Tua as fast as possible." But the Titans too. Will Levis just needs to forget about throwing anything away and just eat the sack, because his 3 pick sixes now are based on him just doing this weird Jameis throw off to the side and praying. He's got a heck of an arm. He's throwing accurate passes. He just needs to not mess up. I think the Titans can squeeze this one out and get a win.
I am going to go with the Dolphins simply because of the defense. I think that their defense can continue to hurt Will Levis, and I think that it's going to be honestly, it might be like how the Chicago Bears beat the Tennessee Titans earlier this year, where it's just all defense, special teams,
and luck.
And some luck, right? Exactly. So give me the Dolphins. Last but not least, here on Monday night, we do have another double. Hey, question: do you like the double header?
No, I hate it. I
hate it.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't. Wait, hold on. You don't hate it, or you don't?
I
like
hate
it?
it.
I don't like it.
Oh
it's
yeah,
so dumb.
I gotta have 2 screens up, and I'm like, all right, I gotta switch between the sound.
We couldn't fit the other game in on Sunday. Come on, stop it, NFL.
Yeah. So, but the next game is Seattle Seahawks, Detroit Lions. Who do you guys have?
Oof, this is a tough one.
I know.
Seattle's 3-0.
I know.
Yes.
But Dan Campbell will not let it happen at home, and he will be victorious, Leonidas style. So I'm taking the Lions.
I'm trying to find a reason to not go with the Lions, besides the fact that Geno Smith is looking really good, and was it Charbonnet for the Seahawks looking real clean behind him, but just hitting holes. But Seahawks just have this weird thing ever since the Legion of Boom and their 2 Super Bowl runs, just haven't been able to get those key wins, and I think this is one of those games. I have the Lions winning at home, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Seahawks show up and score 40 points for some weird reason.
No, I don't see that happening. I'm going to take the Detroit Lions here with this one. So let us know down there in the comments who you guys are taking, who your big upsets are going to be this week. all that good jazz. And hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as that is the best way to continue to support us this NFL season. Do us a favor. All the links to our social medias are down there in the description below. If you have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, or I'm sorry, X, and you have Facebook. So go ahead and hit us up on there. We're going to be back next Friday breaking down all the NFL games. And if you are a college fan, be sure to check out our Wednesday episodes as we talk everything college football and talk, have some fun with that world. These two guys go back and forth. You don't want to miss it with that. You think that the Caleb Williams debate was interesting this episode? You'll love what happens on the college episode. So, but we appreciate you guys if you are rocking with us this far into the episode. And until next Friday,
BeardZone out.
Oh, gosh dang it. So it does it now?